I'll call this meeting to order. It's Wednesday, May 7th, 2025. It's 10 a.m. and we're here to discuss the credit card usage policy. The treasurer and myself and the prosecutors have went through, and mostly the treasurer has looked up and brought us a credit card policy that we've reviewed, and it's here for your review to look it over and see what you guys think about it. I think it's much needed, and we kind of nailed down everything that the do's and don'ts, and just a policy that we have so that we can, at least have a policy.
Yes, and during our reviewing and revising everything with the prosecutor, we also sent an email out to all the card holders and asked for any input or any concerns that they might have.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Which I did get 2, and we've addressed those in the policy.
Well, are you open to questions?
Yep.
Okay. Just for clarification for my purposes, under item 3, authorized expenses, what was implied by emergency purchases? What are you envisioning or preparing for there? What would be an example of an emergency purchase?
My thought would be if you were down in Boise with a county vehicle and you had a blowout or something, that would be an emergency to get it fixed to get back home.
Yeah, good. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
That helps. And then what happens to points on the card?
So I did include the resolution that we've had in place since March of 2022. Each card holder gets points as they use the credit card. So if they use $1,000, they get points for the $1,000. It gets added to their card. And instead of each office or card holder elected using the points for something from Amazon or something, that's a reflection to like your office supplies. Say I get $500 for office supplies, but now I'm using my points. That's not helping the whole county. That's only helping the office. So now if I'm a big time user for the credit card or don't hardly ever use it, it's unfair across the board. So that's what our thought was back in March of 22, that any points that go onto a card a couple times a year, the treasurer will turn them into cash. So it goes from the credit card to our bank account. Then I turn it over to the clerk for the general fund.
Thank you. I just wanted the public to hear that description. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense.
Okay.
Do you have any other
No, I've
comments or
kind of been
motion?
through it. It's been good. It's a much needed policy.
Yes,
It shows prohibited uses, internal controls, payment reconciliation,
accountability.
Mm-hmm. One of the problems that we were having with the online subscriptions is when we get the receipts each month, we should have invoices. And in order to balance that credit card, that invoice would have to be in there. So that's the problem with these online subscriptions, is you would have to, if there's an online subscription, you don't get a bill every month. It just gets taken out of your card. But in order to balance your card through the clerk's office, they have to go back and figure out, okay, well, you got $49 coming out and $89, and then that comes together. So that's why we decided we weren't going to do that, so that we didn't have that problem to have to deal with, because there wasn't an invoice with it.
Right.
And I guess if we do allow that on certain things, we will require that that person hands in an invoice each month showing that, reconciling that, to able to reconcile it, yep. Did you have any questions?
There was a couple things, and I had just received the one that was sent out in March, and so, I'll go through some of the concerns I had, even though I think now seeing some of the updates addressed a couple of them, but, so the first one was purchased from a vendor with conflicts, and that was a question, is there a list? Because I don't know who's going to have conflicts. In talking with Carrie, that was addressed, it's per Idaho code, so that was okay. I've got that off my list. And then shipping to an address other than a county facility. And I talked to you guys about that when this first was sent out, about the concerns I had there, and that was pre the conversation about having Bill and I come into the courthouse. And so, but that's still a ways down the road. Once everything has to, you have to get all that settled out with downstairs. But is that something you're wanting to ship them here and then come pick them up and take them home? I mean, you understand the situation where I have my office outside of the county facility. Is shipping to those places okay? Because I do have the receipts that show what it was, and you'll see paper or ink or whatever it is that I supplied for those. But if that's something you want me to have shipped here and then I come pick it up, that's something I would like to have clarified. And then
Do you want to do that in this meeting?
We'll have to do that. We probably have to do that in another meeting.
Yeah.
I think. We'd have to do that in another meeting to okay that instead of, because it's
case by case.
Case by case. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, and that was part of the question is, that's just asking how that procedure goes.
Mm-hmm.
And then the reoccurring bills, there's an annual subscription. Everything I have or that I turn in has some kind of whether it's an email receipt or whatever. That's just the way I set them up. So there should be some form of backup, and everything I've sent into the clerk for years that has those kind of subscriptions, there hasn't been any concerns through the three of them. So there's always something that I send into those subscriptions, but that would be the next step. Is that something that I just come in and say, this is something we cannot. So like my Adobe, that is an annual one. It's just set up on a reoccurring, but I get notices and I can pull an invoice from that. Jen has a subscription to Simple Practice, which is a part of what has to be done through her client care, and that's a monthly renewal. Now she gets invoices from that or emails from that, and so I'm able to turn those in, but they will not allow any other billing method other than having those on. And there's a couple of those, but those are, I don't set them up unless they absolutely require that. And so, will there be a process to make sure that those are approved so that I can have a initial or sign off that says, yes, this is okay. And, like I said, there's always an email or something that I will include so that there is some backup that proves where that came from. It's not just some random charge that I went to, Spas or Us, kind of a monthly subscription thing. But, just making sure that that I'm understanding the processes for those, because there are the potential of those that we, and especially the way things are going, some of those subscriptions or some of the services, they won't allow you to put them on and bill it first kind of a thing.
And a lot of that's addressed in the memo.
Okay.
Yep. And one of the things is also subscriptions. The reason why we really, it's gonna have to happen someday. That's online subscriptions. But a lot of times these bigger governments these subscriptions just keep coming through. We've lost money across the street in the jail. It was years ago over a subscription that they were never getting, and we were paying it for all those years. And it's hard to track, and that's where our main thinking kind of came from, was where we don't like those subscriptions because of that. It's that they're hard to track, but maybe we can do some kind of a document or something like that where we can
for each
one
department, of what has to be taken out by credit card. That's like you were saying, Adobe subscription. But that's another way to track it too.
Yeah.
And another one of our ideas was, if the treasurer's office has an Amazon Prime subscription, the BOCC has a Amazon Prime subscription, and so does the assessor. Why are all three of us,
Yeah.
paying
Yes.
full price when we could do something different?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
But
We're
Amazon
combined.
Prime was just an example.
Yeah, we don't
Mhm.
we don't
We don't do that.
we don't do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I'm still worried about the Spas or Us Club.
Yeah.
Thank you
I
for
know that's
bringing
what
that
it
up.
was, did you?
Yeah.
Was there anything further?
The other one was just kind of clarification on 5, the first bullet point for original unmodified itemized receipts. So there's a couple things going on with that. Is the modified, I modify them when I write on them. So technically that is a modification. When I put on there the coding or, what it went to or something like that. Yeah, on the county credit card, I don't ever line through things because I don't put anything on there that doesn't belong, that they're like reimbursements. If I put it on my card and do a reimbursement, I'll line through something that didn't belong on there or whatever. But going back to the unmodified, so just making sure that
See,
what you mean by unmodified.
unmodified would basically be you go out and you do a bunch of purchases that you probably shouldn't, and then you write out, you put them out, right? Is that, and then,
So you get a receipt,
yeah,
and then I go and I start whiting out
Yeah.
or taking a black marker and erasing things that I don't want to be seen.
mhm,
Versus I use this receipt and I stamp my stamp on it, or I write a note that this is for advertising or
Mhm.
something like that. That's not really considered modifying, but because I'm not modifying the original receipt.
amount.
Right.
I'm just I'm not modifying at all. I'm adding context to the original receipt
Adding information.
for
Yes.
your guys' use.
So modifying is what we're looking at, is modifying the actual amounts.
Yeah, anything to the
Original
original
amounts.
the original text of
Yep.
the receipt.
And just adding codes or
Material. Yeah.
material or comments
Yeah.
is fine.
Yeah, anything to give you guys better information
Yes.
of
Yep.
what it's
Yes.
for, or our stamp
Mhm.
for what code it's supposed to be in, or
Yes.
Mhm.
line item.
Some of the other is sometimes the receipts, it's been a rare occasion, but I have run across that they can't print it for you. So I use the credit card statement that'll have something on there, and it's on those statements. Like I said, that's a rare occasion, but if you're in a company rig and you're getting gas on the way to something and that printer is out, or, a late night drive and you don't have those, just kind of bring that up as how do we handle that if that happens. And then the itemized, I have had some where it isn't as itemized as I would like it to be, and they don't provide those kind of things. So just questions farther down the road that I've had it happen maybe once or twice in the years that I've had it, but it came to mind as I was looking at this going, how do I make sure that I get the receipts in that you guys need that are not going to be in violation of any audit, but in circumstances like that it just goes wonky. I had one that I was doing a reimbursement for somebody, and as they were driving home, unfortunately, they rolled down the window and it went out the window and they couldn't find it. So we just used the credit card statement. When you go online, you can pull those things up and you can see where it was and when it was and who it was for. And so I just put that in there for that credit card purchase. So that, just again, it's kind of these things that as I was going through, making sure that I know as I go forward, I'm doing it the right way so that I'm not causing problems from the beginning with a brand new policy.
And I think in those type of situations, just let the board know. You lose a receipt or anything like that, just let the board know. So that we
So
all.
one of my examples was I went to the Chinese restaurant in Boise, and they wouldn't give me a receipt for what I ate.
Mhm.
They only gave me a purchase receipt that I spent, $15 for this plate of food. Well, so I got creative and I just took a copy with my phone. I took a picture that I ate orange chicken and a glass of water, and they had the prices. So
Yeah, we'd be
Something
creative.
like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
maybe just thinking,
Even
how
with the
else
gas pump,
can
you
I
can probably
come
take
up
a picture
with
of the amount on the gas pump.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you lose a receipt, just let the board know and let everybody know. That way we're all on the same page.
A lot of it's case by case.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it
I
is.
think what we're concerned about is if you lose a receipt out your window every month, that's
Yeah.
different than
Yeah.
once
Yeah.
a year.
Yeah.
Right.
kind of a-
Okay.
Nice.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Okay.
Chairman, you ready to entertain
Yep,
a motion?
I'd entertain a motion.
Okay. Commissioner, you want to make this or you want me?
You can if you want.
I'll motion to accept the new Shoshone County credit card usage policy.
I'll second it.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. It's adopted. Policy dated, let's just say policy dated today so that we can have it.
So then the next thing I'll work on is getting this out to all the policy holders. Everybody will have to sign, and then
Policy holders.
I'm sorry, card holders.
I
I'm
thought
so
that's
sorry.
what you were at.
I'm so sorry. And then any card holders that's allowing someone else to use their card. So like if I let Chris or Heather use my card, I would have them sign one also to have on file.
Perfect.
And then I will give a copy to the clerk for the employee file.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Thank you for all your hard work on this too.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate you.
All right. Meeting adjourned.
Okay, thanks.